Hello, everyone, and welcome to Analytical Fanboys. I am, of course, Simeon Scott, and I am joined, as always, by the uneven Chris Boingo Rider Gaston.
Hello, I am crying bloody tears while listening to a Symphony of the Night, Simon's Quest.
Yeah, because we're talking about Netflix Castlevania, the first season, which is a thing I have wanted to check out for a while, but never got around to because the only thing I know about Castlevania is that the Angry Video Game Nerd doesn't like the second one very much.
Hey, there's other things you probably already knew, like there's vampires.
Yeah, well, that's kind of inherent. I mean, Dracula's on the box art.
Dracula.
Yeah, that guy. But now I know some other stuff, like the timeless quote, "I'm Trevor fucking Belmont." Oh, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. It's "I'm Trevor fucking Belmont."
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted. This is something Chris put on the list, but before I even met Chris, I was planning on checking this out at some point because this is written by Warren Ellis, who is a fairly prolific comic writer, and the thing I most know him for is he made G.I. Joe Resolute, which is one of my favorite G.I. Joe things, and is probably as close as we'll ever actually get to a grim and gritty G.I. Joe thing. And this is very much in the same style of that, which was just a treat to get another animated thing in that same style of storytelling.
Well, Warren Ellis has been wanting to make Castlevania a Castlevania show thing, movie, whatever, since like the mid 2000s.
Yeah. From what I heard, he was actually announced for a Castlevania movie in the 90s, and then it's been stuck in development hell ever since. And then finally Netflix just came in and rescued it.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's great. It's based off the third game.
Okay.
Because the first two games starred Simon Belmont, which is the great-grandfather of this Belmont, who's Trevor, and it's the third game. You have a bunch of different
Trevor fucking Belmont.
There's a bunch of different games, and then another character has their own starring role in Symphony of the Night.
That is a collection of words I have heard before.
When we talk about them, I'll talk about it more later. But basically, the premise of Castlevania is Dracula exists, and he is basically an unlimited, powerful hellspawn. That has just a lot of fucking power. And in this story, he falls in love with a human woman, and it's like, yo, you know what? Maybe I'll cut back on the demon shit for a little bit. Just hang out with her. She seems cool. I'm really digging her. We're really connecting. Oh, this is great. And he has a happy life and a happy family. And they have a son, and he grows up, and it's all good. And then she gets burned at the stake for being a witch.
Because religion is just the best thing ever.
And Dracula comes back, and because he's been doing the human shit for his wife, he comes back he gets on a carriage, and he's going like a normal dude, like, I'm walking. And he sees his house ransacked, and someone comes in and goes like, yeah, she's being burned at the stake. She's for a witch. I didn't want to go because I think she's a good person. She's not a witch. And basically Dracula looks at her and goes like, all right, you go warn your family and get the fuck out of here. Okay. I'm never doing this human shit again. Teleports the fuck out and goes head over the entire town. Goes like, all right, you guys got 1 year. 1 year, and then I'm fucking all your shit up. Got it? Cool. And then he does just that.
Yeah. And no one believes him because the church are idiots. I love how this story is just so pointedly like religion leads to stupidity on the level of like the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah. And like it's just so fucking hilarious. It's like there are so many like cathartic moments when you just see the demons attacking the church people, and it's like, yeah, that's what you deserve.
The one cardinal guy who's the big bad through all of this is just so delightfully shitheaded in his need to control everything, and the moment when he gets killed is so cathartic.
Oh yeah, it's like because he's not even killed by the main characters. He's killed by a random demon.
Yeah,
and the priest dude is going like, "You're in God's house. God loves me," and he's like, "God doesn't." The demon's like, "God doesn't love you, but I do. Let me give you a kiss."
I think he literally said something like, "God's not here." Like, he left a long time ago, motherfucker.
Yeah, he left when you moved in.
Yeah.
But like, which
is another good thing about this story, because there are actual fucking demons in it. They don't. Well, it's not anti-religion to the point of God does not exist. It's just like, no, God gave up on these shitheads a while ago, so he's not going to show up for this.
Yeah, God gave up on them doing anything directly, and he gave them the Belmonts. Okay, you go fucking take care of this shit for me. I just can't deal with it.
Yeah.
And then they fucking excommunicate the Belmonts anyway.
Yeah. Which leads to Trevor being the most wonderful drunk in the world, traveling across the country trying to keep a low profile.
Yeah. I don't think that was part of the original game. I think that's something very much a Warren Ellis added element. I think in the game, the Belmonts were still like the Belmont family and like respected.
I would not be surprised if that is the case, but I really love it because it instantly endears you to him, with him just constantly making these weird turns of phrase that are also hilarious. Like, I think my favorite quote from the entire show is, "And God shits in my dinner again."
Yeah. My favorite phrase was said in the 4th episode when Trevor's like kneeing a dude in the nuts. And he says, "Really? This isn't a bar fight. Have some class." And the guy gets stabbed. It's like,
I like how you described frickin' Alucard as a dude.
Well, we're kind of going progressive through this episodes because there's only 4 episodes in the first season.
Yeah, which is why this is so great and so enticing. Is like, even if you don't know Castlevania at all, like me, it's literally a 2-hour investment.
Yeah, and the first season is just pure, here's the world, here's everything you need to know, set up, and then it was like another year until season 2 happened.
Yeah. And speaking as somebody who had just come off of watching like 5 DC Universe direct-to-DVD movies in a row, watching this was like that Gordon Ramsay meme of going, finally, some good food.
Yeah.
Because the voice acting in this is incredible. Like, I'm pretty sure these are anime dub actors, but they sound like they're actually trying in this. And the animation is just so top notch, like better than even other Netflix stuff I've seen. This, in my opinion, this blows Voltron out of the water.
The only here's the thing: animation and Netflix has such a wide berth that it's weird to like compare them, because around the same time Castlevania came out, I remember me and my friend getting really hype on another animated thing on Netflix. Do you know what it is?
Voltron?
Nope. Buddy Thunderstruck.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
It's fucking fantastic. I think I put it on the list.
Okay.
No, I put it on my to make a video about it list, but this is one of those shows that I would always that I will point to and say, like, America can't make anime, and it's like, look at Avatar, look at this.
Yeah. Like, they even do CGI integration better than actual anime does. Like, that shit in the last episode with the gears is amazing.
Yeah. And, like, here's the thing. It's very anime because it's based off a Japanese product.
Mm-hmm. It's a stylistic choice that makes sense. Instead of just 20-somethings like anime, let's commission some anime. Yeah. Hi, Netflix. How you doing?
I mean,
that Ultraman show going well?
Ultraman fucking though. I've read some of the manga. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah, I do want to watch that, especially because I've actually seen all of the original Ultraman, and apparently it picks up after that.
Weird how you go from giant rubbery bugman dude, like bug-eyed dude,
to basically a Kamen Rider.
No, he's like a metal hero. He's like fucking Gavin.
Ooh. It's tasty.
I just realized, without saying the first two words in his name, I just said it's like Gavin, which is just a regular person name.
Yeah, but the regular person is spelled Gavin. Gavan, motherfucker. That's motherfucking Space Sheriff Gavan.
God damn. I love the slightly odd pronunciations of English words for Japanese shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kamen Rider Decade. Because throughout the show they just call him Decade.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say he's Kamen Rider Decade. He's Kamen Rider Decade.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like how somebody, like most people, constantly call Forze Forze.
Yeah. I say Forze.
Tomato, tomato.
Peggle 2.
Characters in this show, are speakers a thing in the real world? Because I had not heard of them before this.
On a technical level, yes. Just in this world, they're called the Jews and the Gypsies.
Oh, that's what was going on there. Okay.
Yeah, and there is a lot of Romani phobia, a lot of anti-Semitism still going on to this day in Europe.
Yeah, okay. I just figured they were like generic wizard people.
In the original game, which by the way, in the original game, the wizard was the grandfather, I think, not the granddaughter. Because in the original game, you can switch between 4 characters, and I have a theory on why they made Trevor. Goddamn, so many Belmonts. Trevor Belmont, the way he was, is because in the original game you had 4 characters. You had Trevor Belmont, the classic Belmont style character. You had the Grandpa Wizard Bro. He's a wizard. You had Alucard, who was Alucard. He pretty much does everything Alucard does. And you had a 4th guy who was basically like a thief who could crawl on walls. Here's the thing. I think they took some of the thief stuff and made Trevor kind of a vagabond, so they didn't have to have 4 characters. They could just have a core 3.
Yeah. And that works much better because, I mean, like, it makes Trevor a cooler character. Alucard's already fucking Alucard, so you don't need to do anything to him. And then we get this lady character because it's current year, so we need some representation, and also she's cool.
Also, it's just nice to have like a different perspective between the two dude bros because they're very masculine men. It's just
the first thing they do when they meet each other is start fighting.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense why they're fighting.
Yeah.
But basically, Trevor Belmont's just traveling around this generic European town called country called Wallachia in the 1300s, late 1300s, early 1400s.
It's mid 1400s.
Right. No, it was late 1300s when Dracula met his wife. That's the date I was remembering.
Yeah. Which was something that really floored me early on in this, was like, we almost never do period pieces in this era anymore, so it was really cool to see that.
Yeah. And we see Trevor in a bar where a couple of like medieval rednecks are having a discussion. Basically, one guy going like, "Yeah, no, I had to fucking hit him with a shovel. He was fucking my sheep."
That is the most Welsh line ever.
And then another guy pops in and goes like, "Well, you want to get hit with the shovel again?"
So good.
And like they just start harassing Trevor because they saw his family crest, and he's like, "Oh, you're a Belmont. You deal in black magic." It's like, motherfucker, I fucking killed vampires. Shut up. And he's drunk off his ass. He gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And he starts just walking in a direction. to the town that Dracula wants to terrorize.
That Dracula is currently terrorizing.
Oh yeah. And you see a demon holding an infant in their mouth.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is this show is gruesome as fuck. It earns its freaking R rating.
Oh yeah.
So hard. Like, this is not something I would show. I would say this is like the Ninja Scroll of this generation. Like, it's that fucked up. Do not show it to your kids.
Oh yeah, like when the demons first start attacking, you see this woman walk, like trying to run away, and a demon just slashes her face, and you go like, "Oh, they're gonna be clever with the gore and shit." And no, she turns around and she's missing an eye, and her jaw is ripped off, and giant gash on her chest, and it's like, "Oh!" And then you just see guts and viscera. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and then there's the limbs just fall off in this show whenever Trevor hits someone with his whip. I think his whip just transfers arm fall off boys' powers into people, because that shit happens way too easily.
Yeah, like he's walking down an alley, he sees a couple priest boys roughing up a grandpa, and he whips and he cuts off the dude's finger.
Yeah, and then those guys try and fight him, and the other dude loses an eye.
Oh yeah, and they show up later, and he's like, "Oh, you want to lose more shit?"
Yeah, that was great continuity right there.
Yeah, but basically, Trevor sees his town's in rough shape and goes like, and the good boy in him starts investigating because he doesn't give a shit at this point, but he's a good boy inside.
He probably thinks his entire family is dead right now.
Oh no, it is dead. He saw them burn.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He does say that.
He is the last Belmont. But at least now he has the GF, so he can make more.
Yeah.
But
I feel really bad, but, like, what is her name? I keep forgetting it. I've only thought of her as Speaker Lady for the last couple days.
I can't remember. Hold on, I'll Google.
I think at one point in my head I started calling her Stephanie because her design reminds me of Stephanie Brown a whole lot.
I can see that. Woman in Castlevania show. No, that's the ma. That's the mother. Voice cast. You're not wrong for thinking of Stephanie. Her name is Sypha.
Ah. Okay.
Sypha.
That is a fantasy-ass name.
Yes, you have Trevor, Adrian, Sypha. Oh, guess what her grandfather's name is? Tony. No, Tony's the voice actor. I'm wrong. He's just called the Elder.
Ah. But yeah, he saves the Elder, and then the Elder is like, "Hey, thanks for saving me. Come hang out with my people. Also, my granddaughter's missing. Would you mind going and looking for her?" And he's like,
on a side quest?
And he's like, "God damn it, fine. But as soon as I get her here, you have to leave the city because you guys are going to die if you stay."
Because they're racist.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes on the side quest, fights a Cyclops.
As you do.
Yep. I'm pretty sure there's Cyclops eye in fucking the games. I don't remember what their sprite looks like, but like I think they're like a often used bad guy. He fights, and like the fight scenes are fucking beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my god. The animation in general. I love this art style. It's like anime light, but not in the Avatar way, in the more like pretty boy anime kind of way.
It's anime by way of Megalobox and Cowboy Bebop.
Yes.
It's that style of anime.
Definitely. And the color palette is just fantastic too. Like, it gets really grim and dirty, but there's always, like, one shock of color that'll come on screen, like Svea.
Yeah, with her magics. Because she's all petrified. He heals her with, like, holy water. And he killed the Cyclops. He brings her back, and they go, like, all right, cool. Yeah, we can't leave. We gotta fucking get the person who's underground and to help all these people stop the demons. And Trevor's like, no, that's dumb. Leave. You're gonna get hurt if you don't leave.
And then they try to leave, and the priests, every priest in town is there to try and kill them.
Yep. But Trevor's a smart boy, and he hid them.
Yeah.
In the Cyclops place. and the one side speaker who's just been kind of hanging around with the Elder, kind of going like, yeah, this is a little bit more of the story, gets kind of adding to the dialogue. It just looks at the Cyclops and goes like, I think it just moved. And the best cutaway gag ever.
Yeah. Also, I've just been Googling and looking at images from the show while we're talking, and there were toys for this unveiled at Toy Fair this year from Diamond Select, and they look really good.
That sounds cool. That sounds dope.
I kind of want to buy all the main free.
Oh, man. Also, just the design of all the characters are just really great and distinct because I love the furry cape Trevor has.
Yeah. It's like dangerously close to looking like fabulous, but it doesn't go over that line. It still stays badass.
It's very Viking barbarian kind of. Mm-hmm. Because that was a major influence for the first Belmont design. It was very Conan barbarian.
Yeah. And then Alucard is just cosplaying Captain Harlock.
Yeah. Alucard is very much the kind of like romantic ideal man. The thin athletic guy that the ladies want the romance novels based on.
Yeah. But speaking of him, they find him when, while trying to run away from all the priests, they fall down a thing as some monsters are attacking, and they just fall through like 8 levels of the city.
No, it's after the monsters attack because basically the priests are going like, no, the speakers are doing it, and Trevor just goes like, bitch, I'm a Belmont. Stop this. Stop lying to them. I'm going to kick your ass. They're going to trust me now, and we're going to stop these demons. And the demons start coming in, and he goes like, all right, people with swords put salt on it, and he starts like making this ragtag army.
Oh, yeah, that shit was so cool.
Function, because it shows, oh no, this guy isn't just okay at fighting because he's good with his body. He's smart.
Yeah, he's a big old smart boy.
And like he's like developing all these plans right on the fly and goes like, all right.
Like, you can tell he has definitely trained since childhood to do this shit. This is his one purpose in life, and now he's getting to do it again.
Yeah. And like it's just really cool to see like all the ways that they use the simple stuff from the game, because holy water is an item in the game. And it functions how it functions in this. It's a burning sensation for the things that you attack it with.
Nice.
So like they're pouring holy water onto the ground and they're like stepping on it like it's lava.
Oh, that's cool. That works. That really works.
Yeah, and then they fall into the giant catacombs. And then you have the classic Castlevania scene, the clock level.
Oh, is that what that's supposed to be? Cool.
Gears are just like a classic Castlevania thing, and so throw them in the first season. I'm pretty sure the second season has some more. Because then they're actually in Castlevania. Because that's the name of the castle.
Oh, the castle's literally just called Castlevania.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure sometimes you've
ran, but it's great.
Because sometimes I think there's actually been times when people say like, "Oh yeah, Castlevania." But they go through this treacherous Indiana Jones-esque thing, which is great, and he uses his whip in a lot of cool ways. Then they find this coffin and a bunch of weird, like, steampunk, sci-fi, science-y shit.
Which is another thing I really like about this show. It's not just straight up 1400s. It's 1400s alt history with some weird extra shit put in.
Yeah, and it's only alt history for people who are dealing with vampires.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And everybody else is a fucking normie.
And Trevor's just going like, shit, fuck this shit, fuck, god damn it. We shouldn't have come here. This is dumb. And he immediately is like, because he recognizes all this shit from like fucking Dracula. And they wake up the dude in the coffin, and the girl goes, oh, it's the soldier from underground. He's gonna help us. And Trevor's like, nope. That motherfucker's a vampire.
And then they fight. And 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 then she's like, will you fucking stop?
They fucking stop after like Trevor like goes like he's in a precarious position. He's about to be killed by Alucard, but he stabs him in the chest. And Alucard goes like, "I'll kill you," and he's like, "Well, I'll kill you first." And Alucard basically goes, "Are you willing to kill me even if you die?" And he says like, "If you die, then my life, then me living was just a bonus." And it's like, oh.
That's commitment.
Yeah,
he is committed to sparkle motion. No, he is committed to anti-sparkle motion.
Also, in that fight, because Alucard never moved like that in the original game, he is moving and using moves from his game, Symphony of the Night, because eventually he became the star of his own game.
Oh, that's cool.
So, like, they injected, like, later Castlevania games because Symphony of the Night takes place in like the 1800s.
Ah.
Yeah. Because Castlevania starts in like the like 1200, 1100, and then goes all the way up to modern day Japan.
That's great.
Because any Japanese series that starts off in historical European area, if it goes long enough, will eventually end up in modern day Japan. But they fight, they do a bunch of dope shit, and Alucard basically goes like, all right, I need a vampire hunter. You're a wizard. That's dope. Let's go kill my dad.
Yeah, he's just like, okay, you guys are my squad now, and they're like, what? Okay. I guess we're your squad now.
I mean, they make a good squad.
Yeah. Like, just, the first thing you get when you Google the show is a ton of pictures of, ton of group shots of them, and they just look so damn good together.
I buy their mixtape.
Yep.
Lordy. Hold on. Boop, boop, boop.
But yeah, it's a really solid show. Like I said, just incredible voice acting, really solid animation, and a simple but enthralling story.
Yeah, it knows exactly what it is. It's not trying to make any pretensions like, oh no, we are a gory horror thing.
Mm-hmm. Like, I really want to watch this on... Like, I'm going to watch the second season sometime this next week, because it's about the same length. But I really want to go and this Halloween watch the whole thing in one sitting. I think that would be really fun. Like, put it on right when the sun's starting to go down, and you finish it around midnight.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, I also, because we kind of glazed over him, but I really like Dracula in this show. I like how, like, you instantly totally get why he's doing what he's doing, but also he's a fucking monster.
Oh yeah, no, it's like, if he was killing, like, one person, you'd be like, yeah, no, Dracula, you fucking do that shit. But because he's killing everybody, it's like, bro?
Maybe turn that Linkin Park down just a little bit.
But like you completely understand and sympathize with them.
Yeah.
Like even Alucard is basically said, "Yo, Dad, if you're just killing the priest, I'd be cool with it. I'd be helping you. But because you want to kill everybody, nah, that ain't cool, bro."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but man, when he goes all for full fire, fuck you, it's fucking
Oh,
great.
that's amazing. And I love how they're just instantly like, oh god, it's Satan.
And then the one person goes like, "No, it's Dracula."
And then everybody shat their pants.
Oh man, it's fucking great. And oh man, I haven't seen the second season yet. But I hope it has its best friend, the Grim Reaper, in it.
I know I've seen some spoiler screen caps that show there are new characters coming in, but I don't know if one of them is the Grim Reaper.
Because here's the thing, in the video games canon, the Grim Reaper, yes, that Grim Reaper is best friends with Dracula.
Well, I mean, like, makes sense.
Yeah. He's also friends with Frankenstein. Because Frankenstein just shows up as a boss every once in a while.
Frankenstein just shows up in the third season so they can make a spin-off.
Hey guys, I'm Frankenstein. Yeah. Man. Castlevania is just a weird fucking, like, it's one of those old retro game franchises that just survived for so long that it's just become accepted, but you'll realize there's a lot of weird shit in it. It's good.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way. It also does seem like the internet has really taken to this show outside of just the Castlevania fandom, because, like, as I said, I've just been Google imaging shit, and there's a fair bit of shipping going on here.
How much of is it yaoi?
A little, but it's mainly people just going like, so which one of them is actually going to get to fuck Spia?
They have a polyamorous relationship where all three of them fuck each other.
You know what? I can see that very well.
There's just a funny segment of Trevor thinking, "Oh no, I'm the manly man here. I'm fucking Alucard." And then they get in the bedroom and Alucard just goes like, "Sit." And he goes like, "Yes, sir."
You know what I just realized? Because I compared Spia to Stephanie Brown, but I think this trio in general, the reason I like them so much is they're like the inverse of the 90s Bat Family kids, Stephanie Brown, Cassandra Cain, and Tim Drake. It's that unit, but instead of two girls, it's two guys.
I can see that.
And much like that unit, I could definitely see them being in a polyamorous relationship when they're consenting adults.
Yeah. But these three are consenting adults.
Yes. We don't ship children. That's not okay. That's two kids.
The 1,000-year-old dragon lollies still kind of awkward, buddy.
Yeah.
Just throwing shade. Just like Dracula did when destroying that town.
Hey, it ties in. All right, you got anything else to say about this show? Because I feel like we're starting to flounder around a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, no one listens to this shit, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
we get like 5 listens per episode.
I bet you if I just sat here and said I'm Trevor fucking Belmont for 15 minutes in a row, people would give it the same level of response.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Castlevania is like fucking dope. I need to watch the second season.
Yeah. I think we both do. Unlike Gravity Falls, where I'm like, I can get to this when I get to it. Or fucking what was the other Netflix show we watched?
The Dragon Prince.
Yeah, that's very much I'll get back to it when I feel like it thing. This I'm kind of like, yeah, I should watch the next season as soon as possible, especially because it's so short.
And it also ends on like the fucking beginning of the story.
Oh,
because this is all just first act.
Yeah, and it's too. That's another thing that's great about this being a show compared to it being like an animated direct-to-DVD movie. Is they're getting to flesh out the story as much as it needs to be. Like nothing ever feels like we're rushing through something or we're taking our time too much. It's just like, no, this is exactly how this needs to go. It's much like reading a novel that was worked on for multiple years in that way.
And even if they get to the end of this story, there's still a ton of Castlevania games they can do. So plenty of Castlevania to go around.
Heck, they could go. Could you imagine if season 5 is just like the first act of Simon's Quest?
And he gets a band of people, and all of a sudden the show stops for 30 seconds while text slowly crawls on screen. It's a terrible night to have a curse.
You know what I would love? And they never do this, but I would love it if they brought Simon Belmont in at some point and they got James Rolfe to voice him.
No, if they ever adapt Simon's Quest, to have the person be Simon and be cool and everything, just have like the one person who hates him be voiced by James Rolfe.
Yes. And it's on Netflix and it's already gory as hell, so he can say fuck all he wants.
Yep.
But yeah, no, this is good. I think we both recommend it very much. Probably one of the best things we've watched in a while for this show.
Yeah. I mean, it's the best thing we can both agree is really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of one of us saying, "Oh no, it's really fucking good," and the other one, "Yeah, it's pretty good."
I mean, like I said, I really like it. If anything, out of this show, I love the setup of these three main characters as a unit, and just from the strength of that last episode, seeing them come together alone, I kind of want to buy the Diamond Select figures, especially because I just checked on Amazon. They're going to be $30 each.
Ooh, that's not bad. Especially if you put like Alucard and on a flying pose with like a stand, and you have the other two just like below him.
Yeah, and I mean, look at all that articulation, and the sculpt is really accurate to the show, and like Trevor comes with 50 fucking accessories.
Well, I mean, he has to have all the fucking video game accessories.
Yeah. But
while we're paused, let me go piss.
Okay.
I drank that whole thing of tea I made. So
at 48 minutes in, I will need to cut for Chris's piss break.
All right, I is back.
All right. Before we get back into stuff, did you hear how the latest issue of the Transformers comic came with a pack of the card games in it?
Yeah, I saw that.
Someone just tweeted at the card game account that they got it. They got a Wave 1 pack with it, but they got the rarest card in Wave 1.
Fucking great.
Yeah.
Good for that guy.
That's so wonderful. I love that they did that. It's like one of the best things, one of the only really true good things about 90s comics, and they brought it back.
See the weird thing about Nicki Minaj?
She tweeted the word Megatron.
And changed her Twitter account to like her icons now says Megatron. The name of the account's Megatron.
Good for her.
My bet is she was wanting something old and 80s sounding, and she picked like that, thinking like, oh, it probably hasn't been used in like years, and doesn't realize that Transformers is still going on.
Well, I guess since we're all wrapped up on that, Chris, why don't you tell me what you've been up to this week? What you've been listening to, what you've been watching, what you've been reading, what you've been playing with. Just tell me about all of it. Just throw it at me.
Which one you want to start with? Which one, man?
Well, we've been going listen, watch, read, play, but honestly, I haven't listened to anything new this week, so if you just want to breeze through that.
Actually, I've been listening to shit.
You have or you haven't? I didn't quite catch that. Okay, go ahead.
So I found like 2 bomb-ass like punk bands.
Nice.
Be Like Max, which is a ska punk band with a lot of like cool political themes that I'm really digging.
That sounds very up your alley.
Yep. And then Dune Rats, which the best way to describe Dune Rats is they're kind of sleazy Australian skate punk.
Huh.
Like, and I don't mean sleazy in like the get in the car, babe, kind of sleazy. It's more of like the I really just want to smoke weed sleazy.
Oh.
Like, they have an entire music video where they filmed it in like a hemp farm. Because it looks like weed.
Nice.
Like, all their music videos involve like parties. One of their music videos was fucking great. It's just everybody hanging out at this like makeshift skate park in like this back area thing that looks like there's a barn there. Everybody's just having fun and doing dumb things. And then at the end of the music video, the band actually plays.
Cool.
So it's very much like that kind of fun, happy skate punk. And Be Like Max. They're fucking good.
Very clean.
Yeah.
What you been watching?
Okay. Watching. Let's see. I started watching Gal Gai Gar.
Gal Gaigar, you mean?
Yeah, Gal Gai Gar.
Oh, you've been watching the show.
The show. I've only seen the first 2 episodes so far. So I haven't gone.
I literally only know Gal Gaigar through Vangelis videos, but it's one of those things I've always meant to get to.
Yeah. It's very fun so far. It's very like there's a robot and we gotta fight it, and it's fun. It's fun. So far.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it like came out around the same time as Evangelion, and the whole idea behind it was cool, fun anime shows are dying, and it's all going in this very existential direction. Let's just do one last show in that cool, fun vein, and let's do it as hard in that vein as we possibly can.
And then apparently it like takes some turns near the end, which is like kids' first existential dread, from what I've heard, I guess.
Interesting.
That's again from what I've heard. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, and the main character is a little green fairy boy.
As you do in the Japans.
Essentially, like the main character Clark clinks it up, and he's like an adopted alien dropped off by the robot lion to this one family who are wanting a kid. And he just grows up like a normal Japanese boy. It's all cool. And then the giant monsters start attacking, and the robot starts fucking fighting. Gal Gaigar starts fighting the giant monsters, and it's like, oh shit. But then he beats it, and Gal Gaigar has like the core of the monster in his hand. He's about to squish it, to destroy it. And then the boy just turns into like a green fairy, flies to it, and goes like, no! stop, but in like a young Japanese anime boy voice.
Hmm.
And he touches the thing and it turns back into a human. And it's like, oh shit, the monsters are like actual people. And if the robot boy gets too angry, he may kill them. And that's like a genuine concern. People start that the whole robot team starts realizing it's like, oh shit, we got to be careful with this.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's very kind of like the first episode has a lot of environmental themes, but it's like not really apparent in the second episode. And the second episode, the monster is based off of a evil heel wrestler.
Good.
Who's like deathmatch dude, and it's like fuck yeah, it's great. But Gal Gaigar, fantastic, good super robot show. I also watched 2 episodes of a show called Star Ocean EX.
I've never heard of that.
It was like an anime. It's like a very early 2000s anime, and it's an adaptation of a video game, which I've never played and never even heard of. I just saw it on my YouTube suggestions. Like, fuck it, why not? And essentially, the best way to describe it is it's like this boy is on this. He's not a boy. He's a man, but he's on his dad's like intergalactic navy ship as like he's one of the new officers of the whole thing, and he's wanting responsibility. But his dad's going like, "No, I know you. You're my son. You're not ready for it." And then they crash land on a planet, and the whole crew is going like, "All right, you don't go anywhere." And the son's going like, "Come on, I just want responsibility, guys. And he finds like this one portal and gateway, and everybody's just going like, "No!" And he touches it, and he gets transported to a fantasy world.
As you do in the animes.
And so far he's refusing the call to adventure, but he's being called the hero of light because he had a laser pistol.
Nice.
So it's like kind of fun. It's very goofy, and I'm not taking it seriously. It's more of like a popcorn watch, but it's fun. It's nice.
Cool.
Some neat designs. I'm really digging the main character design. It's like, yeah, I'd fucking wear that. And then I watched one episode of the 80s anime Votoms.
Again, I've not heard of this before. Like, that name sounds very 80s and very familiar and very anime, but specifically, I have not heard of it before. And will you stop that?
You got a pupper doing things.
Yeah, he's itching himself inside of his cage.
Votoms, spelled all capitals, was an anime made by Sunrise in like 1982, 1983.
Ah, so I was right.
Right after the major Gundam hike. Okay.
Oh.
Made by Sunrise. So this is made off of Gundam money.
Okay.
And the best way to think about it is, okay, you know all the moral war ambiguity and like interesting characters and all that kind of stuff with Gundam? But like all the Gundam shit was also like very high fantasy, weird psychic people driving improbable machines and just doing all these crazy maneuvers.
Yeah.
Okay, take out all the crazy part of the robots and just make them like bipedal tanks. Like legit just tanks.
So take out everything that makes Gundam appeal to Gundam fans.
And then ramp up all the moral ambiguity and all the seriousness and all like the real hard sci-fi stuff up to 11. And then you have Votoms.
Huh.
So it's like a harsher Gundam.
Interesting.
And like the main character is this dude who he doesn't know jack shit. He knows jack shit. He's just a really good Votom pilot. But also in this world, Votoms are incredibly versatile, but they're easily damaged. So oftentimes Votoms are called bottoms. Like as a joke, it's like they're worthless. They're hard. It's cannon fodder. Okay, but this one dude's like damn good at piloting a Votom, and he doesn't know anything, and he gets transferred to this new unit, and they're going on a mission, and he's not being told anything. He's just following orders because that's what a good soldier does. And they go into this thing, but he starts noticing that they're attacking their own men, and he goes, "Hey, Captain, why are we attacking our own men?" And he goes, "Shut up. I'll explain later." And he goes, okay. And basically that happens a couple more times with a bunch of different things. And the captain goes like, all right, you just stay right here and keep watch. Uh-oh. He disappeared. And he's back.
Sorry, wrong button. Continue talking. I meant to mute myself so I can let him out.
Okay. But essentially, he stumbles upon this one girl in like a cryogenic chamber thing, and he unlocks her, and the girl like wakes up for half a second and sees him, and is like, and he gets like freaked the fuck out. It's like, what the fuck? She's alive, and he closes it. And the rest of the crew starts going like, all right, cool, you found the thing we were looking for. All right, go outside of this base that we're in and look for our ship and flag him down. And so he goes, and they basically follow him and shoot him. They try and kill him.
Okay.
But he's picked up by a completely different ship. And they're trying to figure out what the fuck that unit was doing. So they torture him for like a month. Like hardcore torture him. Going like, what do you know? Where's the girl? What do you know? And he's like, I don't know shit. And the guy torturing is going like, no, I don't believe it. Do you know something? Tell me. And he's like, no. And eventually the dude escapes, runs away, steals a jet, and goes like, fuck it, I need to figure out what's going on here. And that's all the first episode, and it's like beautifully well animated 80s anime. You know that style?
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so crisp, and it has that like
the harsh shading.
Oh yeah, like I love how they shade metallics in 80s anime because it has that weird like charcoal pattern on it, and like it's everywhere, and it's beautiful. It's great. I love it.
I might have to check this out.
Yeah, there's no dub. It's only sub, but I think
there's no garbage version.
God, fuck you. But it's like really fucking solid, and like the mech designs are great. Because basically he's in like a very crunched up chair with like arms and legs and a little bit more of a torso. And it doesn't have a head. It just has a giant dome. And on the front of it is like a 3-lens setup that whenever they want to check something else visually, it like rotates. And like that's how they show that attention's being focused on somewhere, is it rotates. And it's like it's such a cool like simple design that gets across.
I'm looking at this stuff now. This is it's hard 80s designs. Ooh.
It's nice though. It's so because here's the thing, we're so used to like Gundam mecha.
Yeah.
We are so used to Gundam styled mecha that something like this is refreshing.
Here's the thing, though. I actually don't like the aesthetics of. I'm gonna say good guy Gundams. I'm sure that I don't like the way the Universal Centuries look. Like
you like Zaku's.
The original one is okay, but the Zaku's are where it's at, man. And this looks like they made the Zaku the main guy, so I'm kind of about this.
Oh yeah, and like it's just like. All the mechas look like Zaku's. Oh man, I'm looking at some of these toys. They're just so cool. Oh man. Yeah, but Votem, the mecha anime that should have been more popular.
Nice. Anything else you've been watching this week?
Watching. Nah.
Really?
Typical YouTube stuff. So yeah.
All right. Well, I really didn't have a time for a whole lot aside from the usual YouTube fast food that I've eaten, because that's what really YouTube is for me right now. It's just the fast food of media. It's like I don't want to figure out what movie or show to watch. Let's just watch 8 View videos in a row.
Buddy, that's not fast food. That's an 8-course meal.
Fair enough.
Or it's 8 individual snacks because he is a snack.
Ooh. Okay. Well, I did manage to watch a movie and a couple episodes of a show. So I'll start with the movie. I watched Her, the Spike Jonze film that I've been meaning to get to since it was in theaters. I really wanted to go and see this in theaters and just never got around to it. And realized it was on Netflix the other day. So I was like, yeah, let's put this on and see what it is. And then it's because of the themes of the movie, it sent me into kind of like an existential crisis of loneliness.
Yeah. Really fucked up for Black Widow to fuck with that dude like that.
Yeah. But it is an incredibly well-made movie. I think it has a lot of really interesting things to say about relationships. I also really like the shooting style of it. This is my first experience with a Spike Jonze movie, and it's a really solid thing. I'm not too sure about the aesthetic of the movie, which I would generously describe as hipster grunge. But it works for the story they're telling, I will say that. And I watched 2 more episodes of Adventures of Superman, and there's not much else I can say about it at this point. It sure is a superhero show from the 50s.
Superman appears.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, did you read anything this week?
I did. I caught up on Immortal Hulk.
Oh, how's that been going?
Abomination has shown up. They resurrected Abomination.
Oh, that's cool.
Abomination is now a fusion between Blonsky and Rick Jones.
Oh.
And a horrible, painful infusion where you see half of their head at any one time, and Rick Jones is saying, "Kill me," and Blonsky is saying, "I want to kill."
Well, this book is continuously charming.
Also, they redesigned Abomination. Instead of having just like fins on the side of his head, essentially, the head now has like 3 pairs of hands, one forming like a beard, and the 2 clasp over the head of this new Abomination. And like whenever he doesn't need to eat or use his new acid attack, they clasp over his head, and you just see like his eyes. But then he can like open it and like eat people, and spew acid, and it's just like a head covered in hands. It's weird. I love it.
That is horrifying.
Yep, and Betty Banner, because she's married to him, is now officially the Red Harpy. She came back to life because she's been Hulkified a couple times.
Yeah.
And the latest issue, basically kind of all the narration from her point of view. And she's basically going like, yeah, I really cared about Bruce. And then by the end, it's just slowly going, yeah, but I kind of hate him now. And the last panel is Harpy Hulk ripping open the Hulk's chest because Abomination just melted his eyes, arms, and legs off.
Well, it's gonna be a pretty messy divorce.
It's Harpy Hulk, and here's the thing: Red She-Hulk also was brainwashed into hating Bruce Banner. So there's theories going around that, because she's Red Harpy, there's still some of that programming left. And the thing is, like, in the last panel, it just shows her over his body, like, eating his heart.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And, like, it's just, like, fucking dope. Because here's the thing, they also are, like, really going on and figuring out, like, Bruce Banner is now actually actively, willingly, and talking to the other Hulk personas and going like, all right, we just need to organize ourselves. Because here's the thing, throughout this, the Hulk we've been following, the major Hulk, the immortal Hulk that we've been following has been Devil Hulk. And he basically said, yeah, humanity's kind of killing themselves, so I'm going to end the world. Because to save Bruce from it all, do all that kind of stuff. and they're in a hotel room. Joe Fixit gambled a lot and got them some money in Reno because Joe Fixit is now back into the fold. And basically Bruce Banner's sitting there with a notepad going like, all right, so we got smart people, which is me, and we got Double Hulk because he's pretty smart. We got Joe Fixit because he can hold my body, and that's pretty convenient. And then we have just pure muscle, and he's going like, okay, and that's Savage / Kid Hulk, and that's the Hulk that always goes Hulk smash, Hulk mad. So it's a child. They have basically said that Hulk is very childlike. And that's the Hulk that Red Harpy is eating the heart of. He is there in pain and scared, and he senses, oh, it's Betty. Betty's nice. Betty helps. Betty helps Hulk. And then she just takes her talons, rips open his chest, and he goes like, no, Hulk hurt. Why Betty do this? And she takes out his heart and starts eating it.
Wow.
Yep. And this is the new Abomination. I'm sending you a photo.
He certainly lives up to his name.
And that's what Abomination looks like with the hands open.
Fuck.
Yep. They're going full body horror.
Yeah, that is some The Thing level shit.
Also, do you know who the Maestro is?
That name is familiar, but I do not know it.
It is a possible future for the Hulk that is smart and evil and takes over the world.
All right.
When Bruce Banner is trying to figure out and organize themselves, he says, I can't keep calling you, talking to the recent Hulk that's been helping him out. I can't keep calling you Hulk because there's too many Hulks. I need to give you a name. How about Mice? And then he gets cut off. And you're going, oh shit, is that the Maestro?
Oh dear.
Because they've never, it's a future version of the Hulk, but they never once have, said, oh, this is how the Maestro happens. It's just, no, it's an alternate personality, but we don't know where it came from. And this story is maybe pointing to the direction of this might be the Maestro, the guy that we've been kind of rooting for this whole time and going like, yeah, this guy's pretty cool. He's just doing whatever he wants because he's the Hulk. And it's like, oh no.
Oh no.
Yep. So that's the latest 2 issues of Immortal Hulk. Things keep getting worse for Bruce.
It's funny how that describes 2 books from both of the big 2 companies right now.
Yeah. I mean, Batman's no longer the highest selling book right now.
Yeah. We'll talk about that a little more later. But you been reading anything else?
The next thing I've been reading is a kind of a longer conversation. So if you want to interject with something of yours, so I'm not talking forever.
Okay, cool. I guess we can do some back and forth now. I read the next 2 books in the Hallows series, The Good, the Bad, and the Undead, and Every Which Way But Dead, because after the first book, they kind of just turn into Western title puns. But that's fine, because it's still good and it works. And I like this series a lot. There's not a lot I can say without just, explaining the books to you straight up. But there's a lot of different plot lines going on, a lot of really interesting interpersonal relationship stuff, and, fun subplots, like the main character accidentally making herself into a demon's familiar and having to figure out how to undo that.
As you do.
Yeah.
Typical sitcom shenanigans.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good stuff. I'm about up to where I left off the first time I tried to read through it, which was halfway through book 4. I've actually already started on. No, it was halfway through book 5. I'm sorry. I'm about 4 chapters into book 4 right now.
Dopage. Yeah. The 15th book in the series is just going to be cowboys, but they're dead.
Yep.
No. The other major thing I read this week was I reread one of my favorite shonen manga ever.
Oh?
It's called Siren. Psyren. It's kind of a recent one. Like, after 2010, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, shit. That is recent.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Let me double check while I'm kind of describing it. Essentially, we follow this one kind of ragamuffin, not quite a delinquent, but he fights a lot, Japanese high schooler dude.
Okay.
And he's just going about his day. He takes some odd jobs from his classmates and go like, "Hey, can you beat this guy up?" And it's like, "Yeah, I can do that for you." 2007, 2010. And it was in Weekly Shonen Jump. But essentially, he does all that, and he runs across his childhood friend who he hasn't talked to in a bit, and he's concerned. She looks a little sad and goes like, "Hey, is there anything I can help you with?" And she just kind of like starts to cry a little bit and says, "Save me," and that's it. And he goes like, "Okay, what the fuck is going on?" So he kind of follows her, and he loses sight of her, essentially, and he runs into a Japanese payphone, and it starts ringing. And he goes like,
he's Dial H for Hero.
And he starts going like, "What the fuck's going on?" And he picks it up and goes like, "Hello, you may be you're," and like this woman starts talking to him and goes like, "You may be eligible for this kind of travel-y thing, but you need to do an interview first." And he's been hearing rumors about this whole thing because it's been like an urban legend going around. And he goes like, "Okay, whatever." And he starts answering all the questions. And by the end, she says, "All right, you're eligible." And a little telephone card pops out, basically like a little credit card, but only for phone calls. That's a Japanese thing. And he picks it up and it's like, "Okay, whatever, what the fuck?" And he's just kind of going about his day for the next day and goes like, "Okay, that was a weird thing, I guess." And he runs into the girls and is like, "Hey, I want to help you. What's going on? You said save me." And she's like, "What?" And like all of a sudden they get a ringing in their head. And she runs to the telephone, answers it, and disappears. And the guy goes like, "Okay, what the fuck?" And he hears the ringing, he picks up the telephone, and he disappears. Now they are in an abandoned building surrounded by desert wasteland with a bunch of other people, and everybody's freaking the fuck out. Okay? The only person not freaking the fuck out is the girl. And basically, the girl's knocked out, something happened, and they're told, "Hey, you need to complete the mission in order to get back home." So it's like most of the people say, "Hey, there's a giant tower over there. That's probably the mission." And they start going, and the girl wakes up and goes like, where's everybody?" And they go like, "Oh, they're going to the tower." And she's like, "Those bunch of dumb motherfuckers." Okay. And she finds the map on the telephone. It's like, "We need to go here." And the desert is full of monsters and all these kind of things. And they survive and they get to the real world again. And they're going like, "Okay, what the fuck?" And right before they get back home, the dude sees a mountain. And it's Mount Fiji.
Oh.
Mount Fuji. And he goes like, "Shit, we're in Japan. What the fuck is going on?" He gets back home and he gets a headache. He gets sick. Now he has psychic powers. And basically the girl goes like, "All right, like I know what's going on and I need to explain it to you because we're in this together now." Essentially, there's this creature called Nemesis Q, and that's the thing the guy's been kind of following and getting wrapped up with all the phones and stuff, that basically picks people, sends them into the future to complete a mission that they don't know why, they don't know what for, but this future is in a post-apocalyptic Japan and supposedly the world, and they got to figure out what the hell is going on.
Oh, dang.
And then it just gets more layered from there.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, and everybody kind of has their own psychic power. Like, he has essentially a controllable black hole. but he can't control it at first, so that's part of his training. He has to learn how to control his black hole.
Yeah.
The girl has like mind jacks, so she can send out like mental wires and telepathically link to other people, or like do illusions and tricks to enemies. One guy has like basically like spiritual dinosaur, like not dinosaur, fucking dragon shit, and he can control that. And then there's another guy who basically has a coward stand that can recognize and pick up malicious intent, like danger, and he can take all that danger, condense it into a ball, and put it into his enemy, and they die from the danger.
Damn.
And like a bunch of that kind of stuff, and they fight a bunch of other psychic people, and there's like an evil space rock. And yeah, it's really cool.
Cool.
And it has like a really solid, like genuine romance between the main male character and the main female character.
That's nice and wholesome.
Yeah. And there's like a Yakuza dude, and he trains them, and he's great. And it's just like a bunch of really dope characters. It's not like, I really love it, and I think it's one of the best shonen, but I understand why it did not blow the doors off in a major way.
Yeah, it sounds like a very understated type of thing.
Yeah. And remember, it's 2007, so it's competing against Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, in the hype of Bleach.
Yeah.
When Bleach was still kind of popular. And a bunch of other things that were pretty big and hype. And it was kind of a more subtle, like, nuanced psychological kind of thing. So, like, yeah. It's definitely something like, it's like 145 chapters, no, 145 chapters long. So it's a pretty big read, but I love it, and I would suggest reading it.
Nice. Alright, well, I guess I can go into some current comic stuff I read. I caught up on That There Man Who Dresses Like a Bat and is written by Tom King. New art,
right, Benny the Clown Bat.
Yeah, that guy.
Benny the Clown Bat.
But, yeah, new arc finally after Nightmares took like 10 issues, I think it was. Longest arc in the Tom King run so far, and the new one is basically just Bruce gets out of the Nightmares, beats the shit out of everyone in Arkham on his way out the door, says, I'm going to come back and fight Bane after I go take a nap. And then he calls all the Bat family, and they don't believe him. Nobody believes that Bruce has been fighting the that Bane is actually as big a threat as he is. Everybody kind of has been tricked into believing that Bane is in this weird sort of catatonic, mentally damaged state, and Batman went in and assaulted him in Arkham Asylum for no reason, and so now Gordon's cut off ties with him, and the rest of the Bat family are like, look, Bruce, it's okay. You're going through a thing because Selena dumped you. We get it. We've all had that before. It's all right. And he's like, no, you guys don't fucking get it. That's not it. This is real. This happened. My fucking dad from another timeline came in and recruited Bane to get me to stop being Batman. Shit is fucked. Alfred's a hostage. And Tim Drake is like, dude, just calm down. It's going to be fine. We know what you're going through. And then because he's so fucking stressed out, Bruce just decks Tim right in the face and goes, you don't know a damn thing. And so now no one in the Bat family is talking to him. He's completely on his own in a Gotham that is run by Bane and all the villains in secret. And Alfred basically comes up to him at one point and is like, Bruce, I don't agree with you fighting, but I've always supported you in doing it because I believed you could win. And as your closest ally, I'm telling you, this time, you've lost. So, as I alluded to earlier, the book is essentially going in shit gets worse for Bruce direction.
Yeah. Honestly, though, here's the thing. For as long as Bruce has been Batman, and as many times as he's been right, you'd think they just, go, okay, maybe we should just, look into it real quick.
Well, that's what happens. He puts, this special bat signal out that's this is super big emergency, every Bat family member available, come help me. And they go to storm Arkham Asylum, and nothing's out of place. So that's why they don't believe him. And it's a fucked situation, and I'm interested to see how they'll get him out of it. I mean, you can kind of piece it together now that we know what's happening to the Tom King run, which is that it's being cut off early and spun off into a mini called Batman and Catwoman. So $10 says Selena Kyle's going to come back and dig his ass out of trouble.
Yeah. Why did she fucking leave the wedding?
Because, okay, issue 50 was this whole bit, and the issues leading up to 50 was this whole big thing of Tom King making the point, you can't let Batman be happy because then he's not Batman. The whole point of Batman is a scared child fighting against his pain.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I kind of tend to go along those lines too, but he made a really good case for it, I thought. And that's why Selena left. There's literally 2 issues before the wedding where they fight the Joker, and there's a scene where her and the Joker are both stuck for a spoilery reason, and they're having this conversation like old coworkers who haven't seen each other in a while, and they both like the same guy, and the Joker's like, yeah, I've been trying to kill you for weeks because I don't want him to get married, because if he's happy, then he's not going to be the same guy. It's like, fuck. And that's kind of Tom King's run in general. Is it hits you with these very hard truths that you don't necessarily agree with, but he's making an incredibly good point for, and it makes you consider them rather than just outright dismissing them like you usually would. You want to talk about another thing now?
Is the other thing the other thing?
Do you have you read anything else, or should I just go through all the new comics I've read this week?
That's kind of been what I've been reading, because again, it's 16 volumes of a manga.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I'll just quickly blow through some other stuff. I read the first 2 issues of Deceased, which is Tom Taylor's new alt-universe DC thing, where I screw with continuity in a way and get some cool character interaction out of it, which is basically Darkseid finally gets the anti-life equation, but it unleashes a zombie horde upon the entire DC universe, because that's what anti-life is.
Yeah. Just copy Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, but there's some cool character stuff and some pathos in it. There's a really cool moment where, because Damian was over at the Kent apartment playing video games with John, he was separated from Bruce, Alfred, and Tim. Bruce, Alfred, Tim, and Dick. Tim and Dick got infected, and then they infected Bruce, and he puts himself in a Mr. Freeze suit to slow down the infection spreading so he can call Clark and be like, this is what's happening, this is what it is, this is how you fight it. Alfred's going to shoot me with a shotgun when I turn into a zombie in a second here. Damien, I love you, bye. And it's like, oh, fuck.
It could have been worse.
Mm-hmm. Also, Black Canary and Green Arrow are out camping with Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. And Hal Jordan gets turned into a zombie because he doesn't like camping, so he goes to bed early but starts playing with his phone. And that's how it's spreading. Is the anti-life equation is spreading through social media, because Darkseid made it within Cyborg's body, and then Cyborg got back to Earth, so the virus just kind of auto-uploaded to the internet. But Hal gets infected, and then Black Canary is forced to kill him and she's chosen as his replacement Green Lantern. Yeah.
I mean, she had the will to do it.
And she's immediately like, oh, I don't want this at all. And then Superman just flies in like, keep it, you're gonna need it. Come with me, guys.
Yeah.
So that's good. Good setup so far. I do agree with the real Manos, though. If we don't get a scene of some zombies trying to break down a door in a building where Barbara Gordon is, and somebody says to her, they're coming to get you, Barbara, what is the point? I'm still waiting for that scene. But other than that, it's good. Read the War of the Realms Giant Man tie-in mini, because I am a sucker for anything that has to do with the Marvel size-changing family of characters. Even though I didn't know two of the characters going into this, Modern Goliath and a character called Atlas, who apparently was a member of the Thunderbolts, but I don't know anything about the Thunderbolts, so I didn't know that. And Modern Goliath is the original Goliath's nephew, who's got some baggage, and that comes up in this story in some kind of awkward ways, but not all that bad. Some good interaction between Scott Lang and all the others. We get to see the new Giant Man, who is a guy from San Francisco that Scott met in a issue, and then after Hank died, he just gave him the costume and said, "Here, you're as good for a Hank Pym mantle as I was when I stole the suit. And since Hank gave it to me in his will, you have it, because I don't want to be Giant Man. I like being Ant-Man." And there's also a whole subplot of they're looking for Cassie, because the whole reason they're fighting the Frost Giants is the King of the Frost Giants killed Loki in the main book by eating him. So Frigga's fucking pissed, and she's like, I've hired all of you size-changing heroes to basically go in and assassinate the original Frost Giant, which is a big ice man. Yeah, just go and do that for me. Also, they've taken over Florida, so Florida is now a frozen wasteland, and every human in Florida is enslaved by the Frost Giants. But as they're traveling through, and this is important because Scott is looking for Cassie because him and his ex-wife and her new husband were doing a thing out of state when the war broke out, but Cassie was still in Miami. So he has no idea where the fuck she is, and there's this whole subplot of him looking for her. But when they pass through a Frost Giant village, they notice there are no female slaves being sold. And everybody just kind of goes like, yeah, that might not be good. And so there's a moment where the book thinks, you go, oh, they're going to do some fucked up shit, and it's going to piss me off. But then you get to the end of the book, and we find out the reason there were no female prisoners is because they're all being used to care for new Frost Giants that are being birthed from the original Frost Giant Iceman guy, because that's how Frost Giants are made, is they chip a piece of him off and then it morphs into a new Frost Giant. And Cassie was apparently in hiding among them, and she gets a big damn hero moment where she kind of takes off a cloak and is like, hey, I'm here now. I'm going to grow to giant size too and start punching this female villain who showed up and was apparently a former associate of Atlas. And there's probably some long due character payoff there that I wasn't understanding, but I'm sure Thunderbolts fans enjoyed it.
All two of them.
Sorry?
All two of them.
Yes. But yeah, it was a nice bait and switch of like, oh, I'm gonna be so pissed at Marvel this week, and then it's like, no, they gave Cassie one of the coolest moments of the book. That's great.
And they played with your expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, they actually end up setting the giant guy free instead of killing him, because the way they were making new Frost Giants was actually kind of torturous for him, so they felt bad. And that's kind of where the book leaves off, is like, okay, we're going to get the fuck out of here now because we're deep in Frost Giant territory, and really this has been a harrowing thing just getting here. So let's try and get back to our loved ones and whatnot. Just some good fun character interaction with the giant boys, and yeah.
Where's that Florida Man thing from?
I'm sorry?
Where's that Florida Man thing from that you posted earlier?
That is Frigga explaining the mission to Scott Lang when she wakes him up.
No, the second one where the dude going like...
Oh, that is Scott Lang in, I believe, the second issue it is, being drunk at a Frost Giant party.
And he's just like dressed up like a Frost Giant?
Yeah, because that's what they're doing. They're sneaking through Frost Giant territory to get where the big ice guy is. So they're all disguised as Frost Giants for the whole book.
And they're just like, they just become big a little bit.
Yeah. That was actually a plot point in the opening was they were trying to figure out, like, okay, how big are Frost Giants? Can we actually get that big? They're about 64 feet tall. Okay, I can do 64 feet. Yeah, I can do about 65. Yeah. I can do 35. Oh, that's not good. We could pretend he's a kid. No, what sense would that make? 3 dads traveling with 1 kid? You're right. You want to just try for 65 anyway, man? He's like, okay. And then he nearly shits a brick doing it.
Fuck yeah. That sounds like... Here's the thing. My favorite idea for any of the ant giant characters is the only one smart enough to know exactly what's going on with any of the powers is Hank Pym.
Yeah. And that's like, that boy dead right now.
Like, that's how it should be. Everyone else is going like, I guess? Oh, is Irredeemable Ant-Man part of the whole group, or is he still being a fuckhead somewhere?
Who is Irredeemable Ant-Man?
He's like the 3rd guy, and he was kind of a piece of shit.
Oh, I've heard of this guy, but I've never read anything with him, so I have no idea where he's at right now.
Okay.
I mainly just know Hank, Janet, Scott, Cassie, Nadia, and oh god, I forgot his fucking name. The original Goliath. I hate to say it this way, but Hank Pym's black assistant. I know that guy, and now I know his nephew, and I know Atlas.
Alrighty.
Also read Supergirl number 31, the next step in the Death to the House of L book. Holy shit! All it took was tying into a Brian Michael Bendis storyline, and the book finally got good again. There were some great moments in this of like Kara is taking John being aged up much more in stride than anyone else has so far, and it's really adorable because they're pretty much the same age now. So they're just kind of having more of a brother-sister dynamic, which is great. And then there's a moment where, because Crypto hasn't seen John aged up yet, Crypto is like sniffing him, like, who are you? What the fuck? And John's like, it's me, boy, don't worry. And then after a couple panels, Crypto is just like, oh shit, John! And he jumps on him and starts licking him, which was great.
Yeah.
And then they beat the shit out of Rogelzar and big family reunion group hug thing. And Kara is about as fond of current Jor-El as readers are, which was very nice and relatable. And then her, John, and Crypto go off to deal with a thing that she's been dealing with in her books so far, and hopefully that'll work out good. Because I'm kind of glad we've gotten. Because a lot of people have been like, it's the most awkward, weird, bad part of the Bendis run, but overall I like the Bendis run about John getting aged up. I think aged up John will work much better as a Supergirl supporting character, especially with how they've played off each other in this issue. So if he stays in that book for a little while, I'll be kind of happy with that, I think.
They shouldn't have aged him up. He should have just been Superman's kid.
Yeah, but they gave Bendis carte blanche.
Maybe you shouldn't do that with people.
Exactly.
Because here's the thing.
Every writer who is not Bendis or is not directly tying into Bendis's Superman is ignoring it.
He's still a kid in those?
Yep, he's still a kid in Scott Snyder's Justice League. He's still a kid in Deceased. He's still a kid in Adventures of the Super Sons, which is his team book with Damian. So, yeah, Bendis is the only one who's like, I'm making John 17 because I want to do a weird, fucked up time travel storyline.
Because here's the thing, John makes more sense right now as like a 10, 11, 12-year-old because he's paired up with Damian.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole dynamic, is they're the sons of Batman and Superman. It makes sense. But if
they're being written as, especially in their team books, Adventures of the Super Sons, they're being written as what people think Batman and Superman are like, which are these two kids who are constantly at each other's throats, but somehow get their shit together to save the day at the last minute.
Because Superboy is the parallel to the Robins.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is. Superman just hadn't had a Damian. Because now the way I see it is Batman's Batman, and Dick is always going to be Nightwing. He should never be a Robin again.
Mm-hmm.
Jason should always be Red Hood, never be a Robin again.
Tim is Red Robin, yum.
And the variety of other people who have been Robin should be their character because they've spun off. And Damian's just Robin forever now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or until, like, eventually he grows up and becomes fucking leader of whatever. Yeah, whatever. I can see him being like Bat Al Ghul.
Ooh.
Or just the Ghoul.
That'd be great.
Because no, it's just it sounds very much like a dumb thing Marvel would do, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Marvel got rid of all the people who do the dumb things Marvel would do and sent them to DC.
Hey!
And look at that. Marvel has one of the best comic books running right now with Immortal Hulk.
Yeah. But speaking of Marvel, I read the first issue of Silver Surfer Black, which, holy shit, you need to check this out, Chris. It's a very good, hard sci-fi cosmic Marvel book about the Silver Surfer getting sucked into a black hole and having to somehow find a way out. There's a lot of panels of him just getting weirdly distorted by space-time bullshit with a really funky Ditko-esque art style. And at the end, he encounters a bunch of Steven Universe-looking dudes and beats the shit out of them to go fight a god, apparently.
I mean, that sounds very Silver Surfer-y.
Yeah. Also, I'll be right back. My dog wants in.
This is Interruption, the podcast.
Sure, yeah. Pain in the ass tonight. Go to sleep. All right.
But I'm interested because I really love the last run of Silver Surfer by Mike Allred. At least he did the art.
Yeah, I read a couple issues of that, but it was halfway through the run, and I was like, I need to wait until this is over and read it front to back, and I still haven't. But
you should, because it's the best way I can describe it is it's like what I like about it's my favorite kinds of parts of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I've been told it's basically if Marvel did a Doctor Who book.
But it's like better.
Yeah. I caught up on the new IDW Transformers book. I've read issues 4 through 7 in the last hour. Or hour before we were recording, basically.
There was one fucking cover of that just made me like really weird and like uncomfortable. And it had like Optimus Prime and Megatron on it, but it looked like a fucking love scene.
Yeah, the issue 6 is basically a flashback issue of them doing sort of explaining how we got to this point where Optimus and Megatron and their associated groups are kind of at a high tension point. And it goes into the thing you and I talked about, like really loving about this book at one point off recording, where it's kind of sort of adapting the G1 prequel novels.
Exodus.
Yeah, Exodus.
Specifically, I mean, just
yeah, because the issue starts off with like Optimus or Orion, because he's still Orion Pax at this point. Orion and Megatron helping clean up after a battle from another war that just got done, because this was millions of years ago, because that's how Transformers works. Everything takes place millions of years ago. And they're like all buddy. They're helping each other out with cleaning up. And then we flash forward a couple of years, and Megatron's thinking about joining this group called the Ascenticons, and Optimus is like, or Orion is like, I don't know if you should do that. They seem kind of weird. And they're like, and Megatron's like, well, it's better than this proposal that's gone out to the Senate by the guy you back. And he's like, yeah, I don't know about that. And then it goes forward again, and they go on a little fun buddy adventure, but it ends with them getting into an argument, and Megatron basically being like, you know what, you fuck off, go do whatever you want. I don't care. And that was the last time they were really good friends. And this is all framed by Orion talking to a new character called Codex, which is the head archivist at Iacon, but is so plugged into the archives that she can hardly remember who anyone is or what they're doing. She's just like there's just a constant stream of data flowing through her, so she can't really stay in present conversations. But because of what's going on, Orion needed someone to talk to. And then, how okay are you with spoilers for this book? Because I know you're reading it.
I haven't been keeping up, so spoil away.
Quake fucking kills Rubble at the end of issue 4.
Oh.
So we called it. We called that shit. Because we've talked about this book before off recording, before we introduced the What We've Been Up To segment, and we were like, oh yeah, Rubble is super fucking dead because of certain things they've done with him so far.
That's the new boy, right?
Yeah. And issue 5 basically opens up with Wembley coming up to Bumblebee, because Bumblebee was not with Rubble at the time. He went to talk to Soundwave about possibly joining the Ascenticons, because he's like, shit is getting fucked up. I don't know what to do. I keep trying to talk about Cybertron like it's this great world, but it's not going in that direction anymore, and I want it to be this great place. You guys seem like you might be able to make it a great place again. Can I join? And while he's doing that, Rubble is getting fucking killed. And he's got his communicator turned off, so it's not like he would have even known till he got back. So the next issue opens with him just sitting on his balcony, depressed as fuck, and Wembley just flies up and she's like, it wasn't your fault. And he kind of looks at her like, was it though?
Yeah.
So that's where Bumblebee's at. And they also found out that Quake is not the character that killed Brainstorm. 2 different killers. That's what the autopsy scene was about. And at the same time, we've introduced Cyclonus into this story. They're using the character model they're using is the Combiner Wars Voyager, which on the one hand I wanted to be like, why is Cyclonus here? We're not even close to like Unicron Galvatron shit, that G1, blah blah blah. But at the same time, I was like, oh, that's one of my favorite Cyclonus designs, because that's my favorite Few video. So I'm cool with him being here.
I mean, if this is a brand new continuity, I think it's fine.
Mm-hmm. But he's also a guy who lives out on the waste, sort of like Brainstorm did. So they're like, did you see anything? Anything been off in your area the last couple days? Anything you can tell us about? And he's just like, no. And then the next panel, you see he's got 4 like disfigured, mutilated corpse ghosts hanging out with him as like angels and devils on his shoulder, who I'm guessing are like the rest of his squad from this war that we flash back to the end of in issue 6. And then at the end of issue 7, he's like cleaning out his yard, and then he gets confronted by a complete Randy with a gun that looks like they're going to kill him. And I can't identify the character. I'm sure somebody on TF Wiki has, but pretty sure they're going to end up being Brainstorm's killer. So, yeah, cool stuff happening. And lastly, but not leastly, I read Spider-Man Life Story number 3. Number 4 is out, but I didn't have time to get to it before we started the recording. Really solid recreation of fucking Secret Wars and Kraven's Last Hunt, with Aunt May getting Alzheimer's and Mary Jane having twins and then leaving Peter because he can't take care of his family. Spider-Man, it's a fun story.
Spider-Man, he's just gonna be sad all the time.
Yeah. And that pretty much concludes what we've been reading this week. So we've got, next up is the final bit of this, what we've been playing with this week. Now, unlike what we usually do, where I ask Chris to talk about whatever games or whatever he's been playing, I'm gonna talk about some toys I recently got, and then we're kind of gonna do a big thing for 20 minutes. A kind of big obligatory thing. I bet you can guess what it is. But hey, Chris, guess what? I got some Kamen Rider Wizard rings.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably the only person buying them now.
Yeah, and they're super cheap on Amazon, so I just kind of grabbed a pair every once in a while, and I finally got the first ring set, which is Connect and Sleep. So I finally have Wizard's other go-to spell ring besides Kick Strike, which is Connect, because he uses that all the time just to like pull shit out of nowhere, mainly his gun. So it was great to finally get that. Not much else. Like, if you know what wizard rings are, you know how they work. If you don't, watch a YouTube video. It's a really simple but cool thing. And then I got the original SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Kuga Mighty Form.
Neat.
Yeah, I've been kind of flailing around with Figuarts lately because I figured out I'm not exactly the biggest fan of them. Like, I get the appeal, but it's not the kind of thing I'm into for toys. I like a more playable action figure. Figuarts feel very much like you carefully pose them and then you take a photo. I like something more like a Hasbro 6-inch where you can kind of mess around with it and be a little rougher. That's why I'm so jazzed about the Power Rangers Lightning Collection, and might potentially buy a couple of those Overwatch figures if I have a day of weakness. So I got Kuga just because I really wanted a Kuga figure after I finished Kuga last year and never got around to buying one, and I saw he was cheap. And I was like, hey, it's one of the old style Figuarts. Maybe I'll like this one. And it's a little better. It's a little more on the playable toy side, but it's still not quite there. It still has that element of stiffness. And, like, I know there's a sect of Figuarts collectors who really want them to bring back the die-cast feet because they think they're really cool. I don't like the die-cast feet. They're really stiff and awkward. But it is a Kuga who is on my shelf giving the thumbs up to me, so that's a hole I filled in my collection. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, something I've actually alluded to on this show, I got Transformers Siege, Optimus, and Megatron Voyagers, as well as the Lionizer Battleizer, because I wanted his effects part for Megatron's sword. They are about as good as you'd expect. I mean, I know you've seen the few video on Optimus, and he is everything that video makes it out to be. Just detail out the wazoo, looks really good, has a ton of neat little tricks and gimmicks and things, and he is about the best looking retail Optimus figure we've had in forever, if you want a G1 Optimus. And the transformation is basically MP10's transformation, but with a few extra bits added on. And I really dig the truck mode. I know some people are just like, oh, why didn't they just make it a straight up Peterbilt? It's so close to just being a straight up Peterbilt. Why'd they have to put all this extra Cybertron junk on it? And I'm like, well, the thing is, this line is called War for Cybertron Siege. And also, I think it makes it look really cool. It distinguishes a little bit more from the original guy. It kind of justifies you having this guy in your collection if you already have like 4 other G1 Optimuses or Optimi. And also, to those of you who are saying like, oh, well, if people don't like it, they should just take off that big flap on his back that forms the weird top stuff on the truck. It makes the vehicle mode look perfectly normal. That's bullshit. There's a thing that unfolds there's like a 4-panel thing that unfolds from that backpack and clips into the front and the sides of the truck cab that basically holds the whole thing together. If you took that off, it would look mutilated. So stop saying that, people.
And it's a dope little jetpack when he's a robot. Why would you want to get rid of the jetpack?
Yeah, I love that Few came up with that because it makes perfect sense. And also it meant, like, as soon as I got him out of the box, I put him in a flying pose and it works, man.
And if he's going high speed when he's in truck, he can just go poof and fire jetpack stuff out of the front, and you can stop faster.
Also, he's got Gatling guns for brake lights, so that's cool.
You can go doot.
And Megatron is, I wouldn't say he's as good, but he is as good as this Megatron needed to be. He feels very much like an Energon toy, oddly enough, and that's a thing a lot of people have been saying about this line. Like, a lot of people said that about Ironhide. He feels like Energon Inferno and Snowcat, and I totally see that. But Megatron more so reminds me of like Energon era toys, especially because he's got this one step in his transformation where you just like shunt an entire piece downwards on a track, and I haven't seen that on a Transformer in years. His sculpt isn't as detail laden as Optimus. It's more kind of smooth and tune accurate, but I think that works for Megatron in a way that it doesn't for Optimus, especially when you have freaking MP44 or whatever it is coming out in a few months. I'm a little disappointed that his fusion cannon is hollow, and not like hollow like there's a hole in the barrel, but like it's closed off, but you feel that, and you set it down on a table and you feel that it's just a hollow piece of plastic. Would have liked it if it was maybe a little more solid feeling. That's a very minor thing to say. The sword is very badass, and I like how it makes up the tank turret, though it was a bit confusing the first time I transformed him. And the tank mode, I think, is a little bit haphazard looking, but it works. It works just perfectly fine, especially because it's a quote-unquote Cybertronian mode. And that's all I've got to say about those guys. They are very good. They are exactly as good as I expected, and I'm ever so happy with them. Chris, start talking about E3. I will chime in where I feel appropriate.
E3 motherfuckers. Wake the fuck up, Samurai. We got a city to burn. All right.
Yeah.
PlayStation didn't have a conference, so no major announcements from them. But we did have a conference from Microsoft. They announced some interesting things. They got the trailer for Cyberpunk 2077. Keanu Reeves is in it. That looks pretty dope.
That got me hyped enough to reinstall Steam and put that game in my Steam wishlist and be like, maybe I'll start playing video games again after 2 years of being like, I don't like video games anymore. They take up too much time. I'm never touching video games again.
Yeah, man. You gotta stop thinking about things in like time segments. You just gotta think about like experience.
Yeah. So I'll probably be talking about playing video games in future podcasts, but that's to be seen.
But that's pretty much the only thing I really cared about from the Microsoft conference. Square Enix.
Didn't they announce a new Xbox?
They announced they were working on a project, Scarlet. That's just it. They just said, hey, we're working on a thing, Scarlet. I've just never been a big Xbox guy. Even when the 360 was major, I never really wanted one. I was thinking of getting one because all my friends had one, but I never wanted one. Know
No
what
joke,
I mean?
I actually have a 360 in my mom's car trunk right now because my sister's ex-boyfriend left it in our basement and just forgot about it after they broke up. So we found it after while we were shifting some stuff around a couple weeks ago, and we were just like, let's just pop it in the trunk and we'll take it somewhere and see if we can get some money for it at like a used game shop, whenever we're in that area.
You're not gonna get that much.
Yeah, I'm expecting like $40 tops.
Yeah, because there it was the most popular system of the generation, so everybody sold them when they wanted to get the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sony wasn't there, so nothing from them. Square showed some things. I can't remember anything specifically. So
Final Fantasy VII, but like, who cares?
Final Fantasy VII footage. They announced that 9 is getting a remaster on Switch, and this is like, they showed Avengers. Avengers looked interesting.
It
Everybody
certainly did.
Everybody's shitting on the character models, but like they're fine.
They're not terrible. I can see why people don't like them, but I don't think they're as bad as people are making them out to be. I'm more like giggling at the fact that those voice actors are trying so damn hard to sound like the movie actors.
You know what it feels like? It feels like the $10 Hasbro MCU toys where they don't have the complete rights to the likenesses.
I was thinking more like, remember when Earth's Mightiest Heroes came out? And everybody was basically their comic book version, but
Yeah.
Iron Man had 2 movies at that point, so he was super popular. So they just designed him to look like RDJ and told the voice actor just to do an RDJ impression. So it made him like a weird sticky outy character in the lineup.
That was a good show though.
Yeah, it was.
Some of the simulated gameplay, because the weird thing about this whole E3, lack of gameplay footage. The only ones that really showed a lot of gameplay footage was Shock of Shocks, Nintendo.
Hey, the absolute boys.
But essentially, it looked interesting. It looked kind of like the best way I could maybe describe it is like a multi-character Uncharted watchdoggy kind of thing. Maybe it's an open world and you just pick a character and you travel through an adventure kind of thing. I don't know. Again, they didn't really explain the gameplay, so who knows? Who cares?
Yeah, they just kind of gave us a basic story that was like, this is Endgame, but not Endgame.
Yeah. But it looks interesting. It definitely feels like it's going to be one of those games that's going to be the talk of the town when it comes out.
Yeah. And this is about the point where the audio cut out on me because Chris's internet died about 30 minutes later after a very impassioned rant about people reacting to some Pokemon news, and then some other stuff we talked about, and we went to introduce the next episode of the show, which is going to be Trout Mask Replica, a concept album Chris put on the list. But that 30 minutes is just gone. I can't get it back. I don't know what's wrong. I've been fucking around with the audio for 2 hours, and I want to just finish this thing and go to bed. So, thanks for listening to Analytical Fanboys. Be sure to check out all links in the video description. And, yeah, sorry this ends so weirdly, guys. This one ran insanely long, and because of that, I guess Chris's internet and also the software we usually use to record these decided to just screw us. So maybe we'll rethink this whole long ass what we've been up to this week segment. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to Chris about this before we record the next episode. But until then, bye.